Ready?
Yay!
All right. Okay. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my second episode of my podcast. And today I have here with me Hawa from EPN. She's the co-founder and director of EPN. Is it right?
Yep.
Awesome. So right now we are at her Airbnb, Kipilili homestay. Yeah, so Hawa, thank you very much for taking the time.
It's a pleasure.
To sit down with me, especially after 2 weeks. You're probably like full of Andoni, like.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling today? How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm blessed. I'm so happy that I'm having this opportunity to get to speak to you and to the people that really follow you, to the world in particular.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope we're going to have a great conversation.
Asante, yeah, karibu sana. And asante also, like, we will have, like, maybe we talked already everything that we can talk about EPN. So so we are right now at your Airbnb, right? So for how many years do you own this Airbnb?
Okay, I started starting the business of Airbnb since 2014. So as we do the numbers very well, it's 10 years now.
10 years now.
I have been hosting for 10 years. Yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you ever are in Arusha and you need a place to be, this is the place to be. Like Mama Hawa is at the cooking skills, chapati and beans, like amazing, really, like go give it a look. All right, so I had the pleasure now to spend 2 weeks with you, and a lot happened. I had the pleasure of following you doing the work.
Thank you.
And first of all, like, I want to congratulate you and like the team of EPN.
Yeah, thank you.
Of what you're doing, the work you're doing. I'm really impressed. Like, I've took a lot with me. So let's say, hey, the trip to Katavi. Like, tell us a bit. How did it felt? How was it? Travel so much and spend those days there.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the flexibility. It was such a blessing to find out that the moment you're arriving in Tanzania is the time that we have this opportunity as EPN to go to Katavi to facilitate our education. And this was brought up by Nomad Tanzania, who shout out to Nomad Tanzania. They are our partners, and we partner at least once a year to support and collaborate with some programs that they do in different regions in Tanzania. So it was such a good luck, I can say. It was a very good luck that Andoni was coming to Tanzania, and exactly the date that he's arriving is the date that we have to go to Katavi. So thank you so much. I know that it's been a very, very long journey, sitting in the cars for many hours.
Like, it was fun.
2 days, 2 days of traveling and not wondering, like, where am I going? But you're very calm, and for us, was a very great opportunity to have you on board. So we're even more excited. It was a very different and a unique trip, I can say, because we had you on board. Traveling for so many hours from Arusha to Katavi, as we know, it's many miles away. But the work was very fulfilling. The miles really worth the work that we did. Spending time in the primary school of Sitalike, spending time in the secondary school of Sitalike, facilitating different programs, different education. We had to talk about children's rights, whereby we wish to have this facilitation in all over Tanzania. We had an opportunity also to implement our core program, which is menstrual health hygiene. And we had an opportunity in secondary school and in primary school as well. And of course, the children in primary school and secondary school were blessed to have the menstrual products. And one other training that really melted our heart to see how much the students, the girls were learning, was about safeguarding our future. We know that at EPN, what we facilitate, we address all the challenges that boys and girls are faced with. So seeing the girls talking about the challenges that they're faced with in their daily lives, and having techniques or tactics where they can overcome their challenges. Not only that, but also setting their goals, like what can they do better to overcome challenges, and actually talking about self-awareness, talking about who they want to be when they grow up, was really mind-blowing to see how kids were learning in their school. So the whole trip, the team we went with, we really thank Nomad Tanzania for making it possible for us to go miles away from Arusha to impact lives of girls in Tanzania.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, something like to come back also.
Yeah.
I feel lucky that I had the opportunity to come with you.
Yeah.
I think it was just like
yeah.
sometimes you're lucky.
Yeah, thank you so much.
If Christian is listening, sorry Christian. He will know.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure. Also the trip was funny with the stay in Tabora. No names, like.
Yeah, we cannot tell names, I hope.
But it was a funny trip.
It was a funny trip. A lot to learn. We experienced a lot, and also for me as a Tanzanian, I've never been to Katavi. Like,
was your first time?
This was my first time.
Okay.
So that's why I was even excited more, because Tanzania is very big. And it's not many times you get opportunity to travel. And especially when a place is very remote, like Katavi, very far from Arusha, from where I live, sometimes can be a little bit difficult. You can spend all of your life living in Tanzania and you haven't touched other regions. So with this opportunity, I was like, wow, finally I get to see the southern western of Tanzania, Katavi, so nice. Where many people don't go because it's really, really far. So it was amazing. It was a very nice experience for me as well to see how people of Katavi live. Of course, I'm a local, but I've never been to that region. And Tabora as well. I've never been to Tabora.
As well. Okay.
So it was great to see all the, the life. It was very diverse as well, because we got to meet with different people and see the cultures a bit mixed. So it was wonderful, and I felt very, very much blessed to be part of this trip. Yeah.
All right. So you had like a lot of new information, going to a new region, new schools, everything new, and also like to mention like Ruth,
Ruth, the partner,
who also, like you two, travel to Katavi. You do the work together.
Yes.
And so in Katavi, like, did you experience something different than in other schools? Like, I can imagine there are different like problems in different areas. So do you prepare yourself for another region? Like, do you see, hey, what are the main problems in that area? Like, so how did you experience the difference to Arusha, let's say?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. Before we go to a program, when a partner or as EPN decide to go to a school or to a community to facilitate our programs, the first thing before we move to that place, we normally ask, it's called environmental assessment or scanning. Okay. So we scan the area by asking various questions, including what are the challenges, what are the expectations, what do they want to hear, so that we understand what kind of conversation we can hold, as well as the culture, the norms of a certain area, because every community can also be different. Yes, we are all Tanzanians, we all speak Swahili, but in every community they have their own norms, their way living of life, their own traditions. Also very, very important. But also to ask about the bureaucracy, protocols, the people that can support us in the area, who is the key person to help us coordinate everything that we're going to do in case there is a challenge that we're going to face with. Who is the key person who can support us? So in the school, for example, in Katavi, when we went to Sitalike, before traveling to Sitalike, we had to make a lot of communication with the head teachers, with the education directors, and some other teachers, so that we can understand about the school itself, the area in general, and the students. What are their needs That's why we call it needs assessment. And following to the feedback that we got, we understood that the area itself, girls are challenged with early marriage and early pregnancies. And this is due to the environment they come from, due to the culture or the tradition at the certain area that at a certain stage or the certain year of a girl child, they have to get married. And it's in the many communities in Tanzania, but it was also surprising to find it in Katavi. So we're so much used to the traditions in the northern Tanzania. So to find that in southern Tanzania for us was also a learning experience. And a lot of early pregnancies, because education is not valued as much as in other regions. So there's a lot high of early pregnancies because children don't have access to sexual reproductive health and education, but also because of poverty, like a lot of children come from families with very low income. So they get, how do we say it? They get challenged to sustain their lives, you know, to meet their needs, because sometimes they have needs as children and the parents cannot really support. So they need to find support from other people. And that's when you find a lot of girls being pregnanted or being married with other people. And that causes a lot of dropouts. And we also heard about boys, because around the area there is mining activities going on. So a lot of boys in the area tend to drop out of school to go look for money, because it is believed that when you go work in the mines, you get money, you get richer, you know, early. So a lot of boys in the area, because as well they come from a low income families, they tend to leave school, to drop out of school and go to the mines to work, because they believe, if I am a boy, I'm a growing boy, I need to have my own money, my own income to support myself and to support the family I come from. And that is why in the school in general, you find a very big dropout, happening to boys, more to boys than girls. Whereby in the northern, when you come to the northern area of Tanzania, it's more girls dropping out of school than boys. So in that area was a little bit different, and for us was really surprising that it's happening that way. But we understood that the mining activities is a major challenge.
Well, that's a lot of information. So really you could say the devil is in the detail. You really need to research, make your work, see, hey, what are those children facing in those areas? And now in Katavi, these, the mines, and like, of course, other things. So, and then like, how do you, because you want to give them the option, hey, you have a dream, you can have a dream, you can have other goals, like the thinking the children have is probably really shorter with going to the mines, like, hey, now I can make money. They don't think, maybe if I stay in school longer, have education, I can do something else. So how do you bring like that mentality into a child's brain so they don't drop out of school, to tell them, hey, think a bit more far ahead of.
So it is very important, and this is one job that EPN does to role model, to change the stories. You know, EPN is a story of many young women, young girls in Tanzania. And what we do is to change their narratives, to change their stories, including what you're talking about, that probably a girl or a boy, the only thing they think about is when I finish school, I go to the mines. So we want to change the narratives. And that's why EPN has a guideline, has a curriculum that facilitates in school. The problem that the children in Katavi or in other places, I can say does not really differ too much. We did a lot of assessments. We did like proof of concept understanding what is the major challenge that a Tanzanian girl and Tanzanian boys faced with while they are schooling. And everywhere we went, we interviewed students, we interviewed teachers, we interviewed parents and other community champions. The feedback was almost the same. Numbers of things, numbers of factors that lead to challenges. We have them, and that's why we're able to make a guideline. So what you're talking about is actually incorporated to our guideline. When we go to a class, we already know what to talk to the girls, what to talk to the boys, because the challenge is the same. The challenge is the same. The children here in Tanzania, boys and girls, are faced with the same. It's just similar. It's just that you need to find ways what is really motivate them. The motivation can differ from one place to another. What really motivates them, what are their traditions, and what do they believe in? So if we understand about their core values, about their beliefs, it's so easy to facilitate this kind of trainings. And that's why one example you witnessed in the classroom was to speak about our stories. Like, we have to be one of the example that we've been to the same kind of life. We face the same challenges. We grew up, we were once adolescents, and the challenges that you're faced now with, they faced us too.
Also.
But persistence, we were able to overcome the challenges because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So telling them about our story and where we come from, the challenges that we encountered, can motivate them, and they can think bigger and outside the box, that things are possible. But also, not only in Katavi, when we also do these kind of conversations and education in so many areas, sometimes we bring influencers in the classroom settings. We bring like role models, people, women and men who have done successfully in this community, who are now influencers, who are activists, who are doing very well, that everybody's looking up to them. But these are the same people who have been in the community, who have struggled as well as the way they do. So if they meet with this kind of people and listen to their stories, really change their mind, and they can think differently. Yeah.
I think that's beautiful to have role models.
Yes.
So the children can orientate, hey,
yeah,
they did it. They had the same struggles as I can relate to.
Yeah.
I can relate to Hawa. I can relate to the persons.
Yes.
I can also overcome the struggles. I can also overcome all the problems that we are faced with.
Yes.
So, because like if we are talking right now about the struggles you also faced, I'm curious to know like how. I mean, I know you worked as a teacher.
Yes.
You have a social. You have the, how you say, being social is in your DNA.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what I know. Like after 2 minutes, I knew it after 5 minutes meeting you. I know Hawa has a good heart, has a good soul.
Thank you.
So I'm curious to know. Okay, what has driven you, or what drives you? How did you come up with EPN? Why? Like you could also stay as a teacher, like you did before. So how did it start? Like where?
Yeah, so I'm burning for children. Like I'm very, very passionate about children. That's number one. Number two, I'm very passionate about change. So because of these two things,
it's like 1 + 1
1 + 1
1
2
million.
So because of this change, of the drives in me, the change and children is what brought EPN into life. So I was once a child. I had so many struggles. Shout out to my parents and my twin brother. Yes, they supported me growing up, but growing up with a twin brother, like a boy, whereby in so many African or Tanzanian families, a boy has more value. Or gets more support, gets more attention than a girl. And it reached a point where later on, my dad was like, oh, you're a girl, you just get married. you know.
It's like written in the stone what you will become.
Yes, it's already known you'll be a wife.
Yeah.
But with boys, it's like they need to find their careers, they need to get supported because they're the ones who are gonna give life to women outside. So I witnessed that in our family, like in so many other Tanzanian families. So growing up with a brother, like with the same age, the same class, I had witnessed that it was getting more support than I did. And that was really burning in me, like why? So I was studying more. I tried my best to get everything more, like in school, you know, how I look, I need to look cleaner, and I needed to find my way so that they can see me and they can support me. Yeah. Because it was not in their minds. Yes, they were like my parents, adorable parents, but I think it's something in the culture.
More cultural thing.
Yes, it was beyond their ability to think otherwise. Yeah. So that's what they thought, and they thought, okay, it's easy. We can put more support here than here because she's gonna be a wife. So I had to do more and more and more. And that's number one, that I thought, okay, girls don't get so much opportunities. And, you know, if they could get more opportunities than boys, what could that happen? Or if they can get the same, what could that happen? So because of that struggle I had while I was growing up, that kind of really, you know, disturbed me a little. Wanted to support girls, that one. But also I worked as a teacher in the international schools, in the local schools, and I could understand what children are struggling with. I worked with parents, I worked with these children and other teachers. I understood the challenges, like I was in the setting. Because if you're a teacher, you're a mother, you're a father, you're everything. There were children who didn't even want to go back home because they feel safe to be with you. They would just tell you, they would just tell you, I don't want to go back home. Stay with Hawa. I want to stay with you. Can I go home with you?
It's so cute, but also sad.
Yes, at the same time. Yeah. And you go back finding out, what makes this child not wanting to go back home? And then you realize these children are faced with so many challenges at home. And that's why they find being with their teachers or being at school is a safe space for them. And understanding that trend, I go to start my own programs. I called it after school programs.
Sorry to interrupt. Can we wait a second now? Now it's really I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's like really getting out of hand here.
They know that we are talking.
They're cuckoos.
Yes.
They're cuckoos.
The cuckoos know that we are talking.
Yeah, sorry. Like I hate to interrupt.
No, you will edit. No problem.
Because it's important, and I don't know if I get so much noise out later. Maybe they're like, "Oh, you ate one of our brothers and sisters,
and now you're talking.
You will pay for this."
Shut up.
Nice, chill. Okay. Very good.
Okay.
I fear that if we start talking again, they will start cuckooing again.
They need attention.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all right.
So we were talking about children. They wanted to stay with you. Then didn't want to go home.
Yeah.
Because they feared what awaits them at home.
Yes.
Yeah, keep going, please.
So later on, one child, when I was a teacher, came to me in the morning and started to tell me that she was molested at home. And then I tried to find out, like, how often did that happen, by who, and it was actually a caretaker who was doing that to her. Oh. Just the time that she arrives from school in the afternoon, because the time that she was arriving from school in the afternoon, there were no parents at home. That was the time where parents are just still at work, they're working. So the only person that she could find at home is the caretaker. So that guy, you know, did what he did to her, and that's why this child never felt safe going back home, wanted to stay with me. And that kind of made me think on how I can support them, how I can talk to them. So the first thing is to talk to the parent, but then the parent would always ask you, how can you help me? Like, this is beyond my ability. I don't know what to do because I still need to work and I still need to look for money to be able to pay school fees. So as a teacher, how can you help me? So the first thing I started was something called after school program, where I could have children in my house.
Like that's what you did in your free time.
Yes. So after school, I could, gather kids who were having troubles, like to go back home in the afternoon, for them to wait for their parents. They could stay with me. Until evening, when the parents were able to come and pick them and go home. So I could do homeworks with them. I did projects like school projects, but having conversations with them so that they feel more safe. And then, I needed to create a space for them to play more, to talk, to run around and stuff. That was number one. Number two, I started something called holiday programs. Holiday programs was meant to be a program whereby students, boys and girls, could learn different skills, the skills that they don't learn at school. So during their holiday, they learn about skills, they learn about behaviors and have a moment to have this conversation. They can interact with other children from different schools, different parts of Tanzania. So the program was really bringing boys and girls together and do things that they never do at school. Have conversations that they don't have at school. So it was like another home for them during holiday. So I ran that for about 4 or 5 years, and then I met Ruth. So Ruth had the same burning in her when she traveled around Tanzania doing her research and interviewing boys and girls and finding out what is the main causative of dropouts in Tanzania. So she heard about so many challenges. Why do boys and girls quit school? And when she had that finding, she was looking for a person who knows children better and who can have ideas of like programming, like what things they can be done, to change these stories. And then when we met, it's like, oh, I need us to work together so that we can, something is burning inside you and there's something burning inside me. So the bit similar. So why can't we work together?
Let's make the flame bigger.
Yes, what do you want to do to the children? And I asked her the same question. What do you want to do to the children? And then through these conversations is where EPN was born. And it was born by a friend of ours as well, who incorporated her skills and ideas as a program designer. Hannah, shout out to you, Hannah. She's a US citizen and she was living in Tanzania by then. She was actually my Airbnb guest.
Oh,
she found me through Airbnb and we became friends. So she was so much interested that I'm in education, because her job was to design programs in education in sub-Saharan continent. So she was, by then she was in Tanzania working and looking for people or organizations that do what she wants, like EPN, like she could design a program for them. So when she heard about these ideas, she was so excited and was like, this is what I've been looking for. I'm going to support you. I'm going to help you design the program because you have everything in your minds. With your experience, with the findings you have, we can design programs and have this organization registered so that you can start, go to the world and do your work. And that's how EPN started.
Wow. So you could say like first of all, it's good that you don't blame your parents. It's really easy to blame the parents for the problem that growing up. But it's normally like more the culture that defines, because the parents always have the best intentions. So it's nice of you that hey, it's not my parents' fault, or it's that's really nice. And you could say like the spark really happened with that girl that was molested by the child keeper. That you said, hey, I'm gonna take care of you. And it came in a natural way. Like you didn't even, you didn't even like think like ahead, or like I'm gonna do this in the future. It just was like in that moment was like, this is the right thing to do. I need to take care of her. And then like, it seems like things had to happen that way, that you met Ruth, that you met Hannah, that EPN was founded. So okay, so you have your gang together, and you started as 3 people, like, or like let's say you
yes, and Hannah. It was Hannah, Ruth, and myself. First I must tell you that I never wanted, like, the Hawa and me, the only thing I wanted was just to do activities in the community. I never thought of registering an organization or, anything.
Never had in your head.
Never on my head. Like, I thought you can only do stuff and that's it. So meeting Ruth is actually, she showed a way. She was like, the organization should be registered, like we are registering an organization.
Like make it very official.
But I never, for me was like, I'm supporting, I'm helping, and I'm passionate about this. I'm doing my work. I'm a teacher. So I never really understand about the NGO issue. First of all, I never even understood what NGO, and every time people would see me do these activities, everybody would ask me, do you have an NGO? And I'm like, what's an NGO?
Oh, you didn't even know.
I didn't even know. So my mind was not really for like officializing, for people to see.
All the paperwork.
I never thought about it. But everywhere I go, or the people I meet would ask the same question. Like, do you have an NGO? Like, what's the name of, and stuff. So when it come that I needed like to do like kids events, is when they could like ask me, okay, you have to give us papers so that we can permit you with 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I had to think of a name, and then like registered as sole proprietor. So I had registered something, but I never followed up.
That's actually so funny. I think like you're more like the, how you say, teacher person, the social, like, and Ruth is taking more care of the, like, you divide a bit the jobs you do.
So Ruth made it possible.
Oh, sorry if I did say it wrong, like, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're very right. You're very right. So in fact, with the registration and everything, Ruth took care of it.
It's also her background, right? She's coming more from the
HRR, yes. So she took care of it. I think she got a little bit of knowledge about it, like how to go about it and stuff, and she was able to do all the registration. So it was cool. I was like, that's awesome. Good. So EPN was registered that way.
Yeah. Everybody at his job.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's how EPN was founded. So at that time, you also, but I think also, like, if you think too much when you want to do something, and you think too much about what you need to do, like all the, except from the work that maybe you get overwhelmed. Like, except when I started my company, if I knew what all the stuff I need to do, I was like, maybe I'm not sure I want to do that, because you want to concentrate on your job, which is going to schools and talk about the stuff you're passionate about. That's your job.
Yes. I never wanted to deal with other things. I was like, that's not me. But unfortunately or fortunately, that's how things should be done. That's the protocol, to officialize That's how it should be done, and we have to comply with every procedure. And a shout out to Ruth. Thank you so much for being so flexible and easygoing with the paperwork.
Yeah. So she took there. She did a really great part that you would never want to do.
I never wanted to do that.
Oh yeah, paperwork. Yeah. So like to create an NGO in Tanzania, is it easy, or like do they put stones in your way, or?
Yeah, so because of so much bureaucracy, I wouldn't say it's easy to register an NGO, but it can also be easy if you're genuine.
Yeah.
If you know what you want to do for sure, 100%. Like it's straightforward. But we understand, we live in this world where there are different personalities. We have different kind of people. So some people are genuine, some people are not genuine. So the government is really trying their best to really filter and sieve people,
who is honest,
checking.
Who is not.
So in that moment of checking, that process, in that process is where people might find a little bit hard. Because they really want to make sure that you're really going to do the work. You're set, you're prepared, and you can do it without bringing any problems. Even with following the government rules, regulations and policies, can you really abide to what the government is putting? Especially with activities. We've heard a lot of cases of, in Tanzania, we do not support like the LGBTQ.
I heard of
Yes. So this is our country, and this is our this is the law. But there were organizations who were like supporting that. You understand? So it would bring a bit of a conflict. Like, what are you really supporting? Does that comply with our laws, align with our culture? They really want to make sure. I know everybody who wants to do community work, they are there to support. But what are you supporting? Are you supporting something that we are not supporting, or you're supporting something we're supporting? Because the government appreciate NGOs. We really do their work. Everything that we do was supposed to be done by the government. But because of maybe lack of shortage of resources, and that is why the government is relying on NGOs. We are helping them. We are holding their hands. Like, let's do this work together. So they really appreciate and they support us, especially with the documentation. But in that procedure of checking who is real, who is not, that can be a little bit frustrating. Because they really need to scan and prove that this is exactly what we need in the country, and then they can give you the certificate. So with EPN, we thank God, like in 2020 July, we got our registration and we're legally registered on that date.
Awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It worked out. I think passion finds its way through today's struggle.
Yes. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's great. All right. So like we now we know a few things now what you're doing. So EPN was founded, and then it's time to put in the work. You have a program, and you have some like core values, and you have problems that you face. Like, can you talk a bit about like in Tanzania, like what those problems are? I know we talked a bit because of Katawi about those, but I think there is more to that, because I think a few people listening will be shocked, like with what problems people are struggling here. So
well, there are so many challenges depending on the age group. But because we are dealing with adolescent boys and girls, we understand this is the age group that is still in school. They're still in their education journey, and they're faced with so many challenges. Among many other challenges include period poverty. When I say period poverty, now I'm talking about menstruation.
Go ahead. Like, I mean, it's
I'm talking
about
thing, about menstruation, lack of menstrual products, lack of menstrual education, the hygiene, lack of privacy to young women, to girls, you know, and includes a lot of things, lack of facilities for them to manage their periods.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that incorporate into period poverty. And that's one thing that EPN is addressing, period poverty. And under that, we have one unique program called Happy Period, Happy Girls. Yeah, and we have issues like early pregnancy, early marriage. We have issues like peer pressure. We have issues of self-esteem and self-image. We have issues of gender-based violence or violence against children, child abuse. We have issues of social cultural norms, you know, poor practices. One would just ask, what are the, like, what kind of poor practices? For example, when we talk about FGM, female genital mutilation or female genital cut, that's a poor practice, you know. So we have varieties of poor practices that is from the social cultural norms, like the traditions. But we have issues like corporal punishments, that causes a lot of dropouts. Yeah, the way teachers and students interact.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of beating and stuff with some kids. Yeah. We have issues of long distance. A lot of children walk for so many kilometers to go to school, and that can make children so tired and demotivated to go to school. It's really discouraging them to go to school. So that's a challenge. Yeah, but also we have challenges like you know, child labor. We were talking about the mines. Yeah. Like yes. And so many other challenges. So everything that you hear, every challenge that I have outlined or I've said here, I've said only a few. I cannot like list all of them. It's just so many challenges. We have put them into the program called The Last Kilometer. So The Last Kilometer was once a 1 year long, but now it's a 4 year long program that we facilitate in schools to adolescent boys and girls. We include both boys and girls in class. So we camp in a school for 4 years. We have them when they get into a secondary school, like we call them Form 1. We have them in the Form 2, Form 3, and Form 4. So we facilitate this guideline for 4 years, addressing different challenges, addressing you know, the problems that they are faced with. And that is why this guideline is so enriched with so many topics. And we go to school once a week. To the schools, so far now we have only 2 schools that we are implementing our program, the Last Kilometer program. So we have a lot of conversations. We also invite guest speakers, the influencers I was talking about. But we also include parents and teachers to the Last Kilometer program. So they also get like a glimpse into the work you do and but the most importantly is for them to be part of the program, to be part of the growth of this child. We can not only support the child by ourselves like EPN. Yes, we facilitate this education, but end of the day, this child will go back home. End of the day, this child will stay in school. So the people who are taking care of this child, who are supporting this child, also need to understand what's going on. What are the changes we want to see or we anticipating from a child? That's why we invite teachers and parents to be part of the Last Kilometer program, so that together we can raise a child that we want to see. We can support this child that is faced with so many challenges. And this is through our triangular model. It's a triangular, like 3 corners, where we put a child in the center, and we have the student, we have the teachers, and we have the parents. So the triangular model is there to support a child. We think or we believe that everybody in the community is responsible for a life of a boy and of a girl.
That makes so much sense. I mean, you're like kind of like putting the first gear in the car. Like, hey, this needs to roll like duck. Now the parents and the teachers, because you cannot spend time with all the children all the time.
Yeah.
So you say, hey, look, these are the problems we're facing.
Yeah.
Teach your parents, take a look, society, take a look at this, and work towards a solution.
Yeah.
So you have children can have a better future.
It's really helpful to collaborate with everybody in the community, and for sustainability as well. So I'll give you one example. When we talk about menstruation, like the Happy Period, the Happy Girls program, we talk about everything surrounding menstruation. Of course, it goes hand in hand with the distribution of menstrual products. Why is that? Because in Tanzania, young women are really struggling their period. I struggled with my periods a lot because nobody ever told me anything. Like, what will be expected? What's up with your body? Like all the changes. So nobody told me about the changes in my body. So when I had my first period, it was a nightmare. And this is not only my story, the story of so many young women. So imagine not having proper information and not having menstrual product to manage your period. Two things in one.
How do you solve this?
It's a nightmare to everyone, and that's why in so many communities you'd find girls dropping out of school, or not going to school when they're in their periods, when they're menstruating, because they don't have products. That's one. But number two, a lot of them resort to other unhygienic products, like they use ugali. I don't know if you've ever tried ugali.
Ugali?
The food ugali.
It's a food?
Yes.
Okay.
They use mud.
Yeah.
They use feathers, or they use a piece of a mattress, like a sponge, you know, or a rug, like, because they don't have any products to, yes. But some communities, a girl would just dig a hole and like squat there throughout the day. Because what can they do? They're bleeding.
Yeah.
You know. So that's why you find a lot of girls having issues. They have issues like fungus, you know, so much infections because of using products or things that are not hygiene. But not having proper information, there's a lot of misconception in Tanzania, a lot of myth surrounding menstruation. Like when I'm menstruating, I'm not allowed to like cook. When I'm menstruating, I cannot go to the garden. When I'm menstruating, I cannot hold the baby. Like there's a lot of myth.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. But also they say when you have cramps, when you're menstruating, some women have cramps, like pain. And they say, oh, you cannot use anything to manage your pain. So a lot of women are crying inside. They're really struggling, suffering from the pain, not knowing what to do. Because the myth around it is like anything that you touch, anything that you do, or if it's either you drink or eat as a medicine, is going to, you know, it's going to ruin your uterus.
Okay.
Like, oh, you won't have a baby when you want a baby. You won't be productive. So there are a lot of misconceptions around it and really scare women. And we believed that it is what it is.
Don't know better.
Yes. Until we learned about this and we said, okay, we need to go out there and tell them the truth and give proper information. So with all this information, imagine parents don't have this information. We tell them to support their children at home and they don't have this information. That's why it's very important to also include teachers and parents to this kind of conversation so that they can support. They know what to tell them now. We've changed their beliefs. We change their attitudes, you know, they have proper knowledge and they can impart that to their children. Yeah.
Wow. So first of all, like talking about menstruation is obviously like it's such a how would you say, a difficult topic to...
Yes, sensitive
topic to talk about it, because I know back home, like, that's not something people, like, woman to woman, of course, like, but hearing stuff like this, it's like, you know, it's insane.
Yeah.
But it's important to talk about, and also thank you that you also talk about, hey, you struggled as well. You also went through that. So mouths need to be open up, and the ears need to be sharpened to listen to, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And especially now, this is something I'm curious. The parents, let's say, they probably more difficult to like change.
Yeah.
How do you change or get the parents to drive in the right direction so the children get the support they need?
Yeah. Sometimes people tend to be difficult to change because they don't know. They don't just choose not to change. It's just that, what are we changing for? What are the advantages? If I change now, what's the benefit?
Yeah.
You know, after all, I lived 40, 50, 60 years. I didn't die, so why do I have to change? So the most important thing to make people change is to give them proper information and to really address specifically the disadvantages or the challenges or the problems that they might encounter when their children are growing up. So just in particular, when we were talking about menstruation, parents never knew, nobody told them about what is happening in their bodies. I know parents go to hospitals to, you know, for maternal birth, and they come back home with a baby. But even with that, they don't know what's happening to a woman's womb, to a woman's body. Yeah. So the very first thing is to speak a lot about the changes. Because of course, they've gone through the changes. So it's something that they witnessed, it's something that they know. Yes, I was once a child, and once a teenager, and then an adult, and now maybe I'm like this. There are changes, and that's what we try to address. Like, you know, there are changes happening, and these changes come with so many challenges, you know, and this is what your child or your children are struggling with. That's number one. When we talk about menstruation, we speak a lot about the physiology of menstruation, whereby we show the reproductive system in that angle of menstruation. Like, do you know this is how a woman's body, a woman, when you open her, this is how it looks. And you know why they're menstruating, why they're bleeding every month? It's because this and this is happening, and that. They get so much astonished with that.
They didn't know, like, they're...
Oh, is this what is happening? So a lot of men here think that...
Yeah, what do men think?
First of all, they think, okay, if a woman is menstruating, they menstruate from January to January, from Monday to Monday. It never stops. And that's a lot of men, all the time.
You would die really fast, probably.
They cannot think. Some men even hate sitting close to women because they think they're dirty. They're bleeding all the time. This is what they believe. That's number one.
Where does it come from?
Yes, you see. So they really don't understand. Number two, they think there are women who menstruate and there are women who don't menstruate. The one who menstruate did something wrong in their bodies.
If they don't.
If we're menstruating.
You did something wrong,
yes,
if you're
menstruating. So they believe, oh, the women who are menstruating, maybe they did something wrong, or, you know, there's something wrong in them. That's why they menstruate. And the women who don't menstruate,
they're right. They're good. They're good to go.
That's the information they have.
What? What? What's going on?
So when they hear that women all over the world from age 9 to age 16 can start menstruating, and it doesn't matter the community come from, you know, whether you're white, you're Chinese, you're African, every woman. So they believe there were men who were saying, oh, do Western people menstruate?
No,
they think it's something African.
What would be the reason if only African women menstruate?
Because they don't know what is happening in the woman's body, and they don't know that it's biological.
Yeah, that's nature.
Yeah, they don't understand. They don't have this kind of information. They don't have this education that biologically this change happens.
Yeah.
And it happens from what age? It's something also really they don't really understand, like from what age. And that's why we tell parents from age 9, because they believe that a girl must start menstruating from age 14. Like if they start menstruating below 14, some women or some society believe that, oh, this girl has started sleeping with men, that's why she's starting menstruating. So there is a lot of misconception, even with the age.
Yeah. And
there's a lot to tell. There's a lot to address surrounding menstruation, and that's why it's our very, very dear program to us.
Yeah.
It's a very dear program because it incorporates a lot of discussions and a lot of people in the community. We want everybody to understand what is happening so that they can be able to support. So the change comes automatically. Like when people start getting astonished, like, oh, really? Oh, okay. So I did wrong for the 60 years.
My whole life.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is it. Yeah, and we try also to speak to them in a friendly way, you know, to really be humble. So and
empathy, like.
Yes, like we feel you, we understand, like you're not the only one, so that they don't feel bad and excluded. So that's how we support them to change.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's like, I would love to see the face from like I don't know, from 60 years old. In that age, you find out how like your body works because of, and also you can also like probably not blame them.
Of course.
It's also like cultural, like it's coming from, I don't know, who knows from where all those beliefs.
Come. Absolutely. It's a very closed conversation, and our main objective as EPN is to normalize period. Normalize in a sense that it can be discussed openly. You can talk about period with your dad, with your friend, whoever you feel comfortable with to talk about. It's not so private. We don't want it to be so private, like you cannot share with anyone. We want women to feel safe. We want women to feel comfortable. We want women to feel supported through the journey of their menstruation. It's like, it feels sometimes the most natural things are the things we are afraid of talking. Like it's everything that is like with the human body, also like being naked or something, are like, don't like being you, like if you menstruate it's normal, if you don't menstruate it's normal, like it's your body, it's things will change. So okay, so those are a lot of things. How do you, I mean, I experienced it firsthand, how does a class look like when you, or do you have something else to say about, because I want to go slowly to the solution that you provide with EPN. Okay, so you want me to talk about the experience in the classroom?
Yeah, in the classroom, because like from, maybe if I can talk from, it's high energy in the classroom. Like I don't understand Swahili, but I was getting the vibes, goosebumps and really feeling the energy that you bring into the class, that the children bring. It's like, wow, it's I wish school in Switzerland was that way. Maybe then I would have stayed for a bit longer. I remember when you first came to me and told me, Hawa, if you'd be my teacher in Switzerland, I would love school. Yeah, really? I would. Like, we would also bring some chapati.
Who knows?
Like some good chapati with beans. Chapati is, how you say? It's like a type of bread.
Yeah, it's a bread.
It's a bread, yeah, it's really good. Mwah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss the food
Chapati.
Here in Tanzania,
Yeah.
Okay, so, then you do your work in class. You're, like I said, you have but let's stay at like menstruation, because that's like your core, your main thing.
Yes.
So how does for everybody that didn't see it, how does it look like when Hawa and Groove turn up the gear all the way up?
Yeah, in particular, menstruation discussions in the beginnings are never easy. And there's a very big difference between the primary school students and secondary school students. Now I'll start with the primary school students. With the primary school students, these are the children who are like age 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe up to 14, somewhere there, 15, a few. So you can see they are young, but they're expected to menstruate anytime.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very, very important for us to teach this age.
To be ahead.
And some of them are already menstruating. Like in class, normally we ask, they raise their hands. Age 10, 11, 12, yeah, they're already menstruating. So it's very important that we include this age group. In the beginning, they start like, no, don't talk about that.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what are the general reactions?
Yes, so that would be the reaction. Like, you know, they hide their faces.
Oh, they're ashamed.
They're ashamed. It's like, what are these people talking about?
Yeah.
But that only takes about 5-10 minutes.
And then it's...
Because we have games, I think you saw.
Yeah, I catch the ball.
We take them to the rhythm of like being their friends. They're, you know, very close. But also to encourage them that we are only women here talking about this. And this is about you. And the most important thing is to normalize this. Like, we're ambassadors. It has to start with us. So now we are going to practice talking about it. So it's a practice for them to be able to talk with other children or with other people at home.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why we slowly dive into, oh, what are the changes that you have now? So when they start touching their chest, when they know, oh, now I have some hair, pubic hair, armpit hair. Oh, now they understand, oh, it's this what you mean. These are the changes you're talking about, you know. So when we talk about those small changes that they can see with their eyes, it's easy to dive into the physiology of menstruation. So we start slowly with the changes so that they adopt and understand, oh, I'm growing. That's why I have this. That's why I see this. When I look at my friend, I can see this, I can see that. Oh, that is accompanied by the other change. And that's menstruation. And then they get so much happy to hear this discussion. They you know, they participate actively in class. And they ask so many questions. And when they hear that they have a present to take home, they have the menstrual product, you know, you're gonna get the pads, the towels. Oh, they get very much motivated to listen and ask many questions. So in primary school, it's always, oh, easy. In secondary school, this is the age from 15 now,
being
16.
Rebellious.
Oh, these are teenagers.
Don't listen to
It's
Hawa.
like, don't talk about my body. Please don't talk about it. It's like, no, don't talk about it. So, you know, like teenagers are a bit, like, I don't want to discuss about that.
They want to be cool.
Yes.
Talking about that is not cool.
No, I don't. So in secondary school, it starts like that. Like there's a very big wall.
Yeah.
Because teenagers, it's like, you don't cross here.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
I can imagine, yeah.
But because we are teachers and we have ways, we have techniques, we have different methodologies to make everybody participate, to get their attention, to get them enjoy the conversations. And yeah, end of the day, they really enjoy the conversation. And, you know, because when we enter to a class, we ask this question: how many of you are comfortable talking about periods? Maybe there are only 2 hands or nothing of a class of 100 kids. And when we finish the class,
everybody.
Who is now comfortable talking about periods? Like everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the experience.
It like, I mean, it's already difficult to talk to people who are like the same age. So I can only imagine how difficult it is to, you know, like break the ice with the teenage. Let me check. Yeah, all good. Just making sure that we still going on and recording. Okay, yeah, because that's also like a bit the vibe I had in classroom. I was feeling like, not like, maybe tension is a bit of a hard word, but I feel like they need to get like, but watching you and Ruth, like, okay, let's go, let's open up. It's it's also at the end when they all wanna
it's very beautiful.
Yeah, that's really beautiful
to see that trend, like you start from this low and then you go up. It's so energizing.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Thank you so much.
All right, like there's a moment where we need to wrap this whole thing up, but before we do that, like now all with the problem solution, is there, because I want to talk about like what can people outside from Tanzania do to help you. But before we get there, is there something else you want to say maybe about, you know, the problems, the solutions? Like, did we miss something?
I wanted to talk a little bit about the third program that we have that is called Msichana Camp.
Yeah, let's do that.
That is also a very unique program that we have, because at the moment we have 3 programs. One is Happy Period, Happy Girls. We spoke a lot about menstruation already. The second one is the last kilometer, the big guideline that we facilitate once a week at a school. But we also have we do this once a year. It's a program that is done only in December holiday, and this is special for urban girls of age 9 to 16. Yes, we try to reach girls and boys in very remote areas, in the villages, in interior Arusha, interior regions of Tanzania. But that doesn't mean there are no problems in towns, like girls and boys who come from like cities, from towns. You know, everybody's like doing things for rural boys and girls. That's absolutely right. And this is what we are all trying to do, to help the government to go to the places, to the very interior places that government have never reached. That's why NGOs are like going remotely to work. But that doesn't mean the work is done, the work is over in urban settings, in towns. So EPN, there were a lot of cases brought to us, like when we first started. And also for me, working as a teacher, I worked with children who come from the urban settings, understanding their challenges. And some challenges are contributed by the parenting. So we created this wonderful program called the Msichana Camp that we do only once a year. And we only have like 25 to 30 girls who camp, like stay day and night for 5 days, for 5 nights, 6 days, being coached, being trained, discussing a lot of issues, making a safe space for them. We do a lot of counseling as well. And we want them to meet with like role models and influencers. So we talk about career guidance. We talk about their personal leadership. We talk a lot about sexual reproductive health and rights. We inspire girls who want to be scientists, engineers. So we have like STEMI. We talk a lot about hygiene, responsibilities. We talk about proper habits and manners. But we also incorporate innovation, and you know, like this world where it's going is like the world of creativity and innovation. So we kind of open the world for them. But the most important thing that we never miss to Msichana Camp is about self-esteem and image. We also talk about healthy relationships, because in town that is an issue. with the influence of social media,
Ooh.
our children have
Bring
access.
It on.
Yes, have
Bring
access to phones, you know, to social media. That's where they see, I don't know, celebrities, or they see people, they look up to them, and they look at themselves and like, what's wrong with me?
I'm not like them.
I'm not like them. I want to be like them. And they're teenagers, they're growing. So you see, they have a lot of stress. They're faced with a lot of challenges. The social media being their biggest influence to the change. It's kind of dimmed their self-esteem, their confidence. There was one girl that the case was brought to us that this girl never wanted to eat. Like, a parent is paying lunch at school, but then when she finishes eating, she goes to the toilet to make herself puke so that she can look slim. But also there's a problem of peer pressure, and kids want to fit in. There are issues of bullying. That's a major challenge in urban settings. So the bullying as well, like when you listen to the stories of these girls, they are bullied to the extent that they hate themselves. And that's why I think 2 years ago there was a trend of teenage suicide because of these issues now we're talking about. And that's why as EPN we're like, yes, we know we want to help. We want every voice to matter, from the remote to the urban. But can we have a program that can invite, you know, girls who come from, I don't know, middle class or high class, the parents who are in town, they can bring their children and we can have them and have this kind of conversation. And through that, we're able now to create a new program that's going to be our 4th program from this year. We are going to launch. It's called Mvulana Camp. Msichana is a girl. So in English, you can say girls camp. That's why you say Msichana Camp. We've done that for 4 seasons now. And now we are going to have Mvulana. Mvulana is a Swahili word for a boy. So we are going to have a boys camp for the first time this year.
That's awesome. Congratulations that
Thank
you're
you.
expanding on your program.
Yes. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, yeah, social media is bad place. Like, especially during, in my eyes, it should be like age restricted. Because it's addictive. It's like a drug. And it's also like, I also blame a bit like the big companies that they don't give out the data, you know. So we could have like one time a serious talk, how are the relationship between social media and mental health, because as you said, I think that brings a lot of problems. So I mean, even probably you and me, we also sometimes see something and think, they have their life sorted out. What's even that? But that's just that's one part of a big puzzle that creates a problem for girls. So awesome. So the camp you're gonna start this year for boys?
For boys,
and you have like more or less a bit the same program for boys. They probably also face like bullying. Mental health,
challenges.
More or less the same challenges, except for like the body changes. Yeah. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's awesome. So, I mean, you're an NGO. And NGOs, they like money doesn't come like, and help doesn't come from the sky. So how can people outside of Tanzania help you? Because the problem you're solving, like, is a solution for the future of Tanzania. I mean, having educated children who stay in school leads to a better country. So how can people outside of Tanzania support you?
Wow, that's a big question. But thank you so much for asking that, because as you said, money doesn't just come from the sky. And NGO is not a business. Like, you can generate income from, we don't have any source of income that can support our programs. However, we depend on donations. donations from friends, from families, you know, from our network. And for the 4th year now, EPN is entering to the 4th year. That's how we've been operating. And you know that people really need to see your commitment. People really need to see your work and the impact you make so that they can be able to support you. There are thousands and thousands of NGO, but what is so unique about you so for somebody to give you money? So with everything that I explained in a very short because I can take days and days talking
for
just
sure.
about EPN, but I welcome and I invite, like, genuinely and humbly, you know, people who want to support this initiative, because we just started this. We want people to support so that it can expand and we can reach more people, more lives. We can impact more lives. So if they can be donors or funders, depending. You okay?
Sorry to interrupt, because this already shut down.
Oh, it's off. So we need to expand our programs, and it's our big vision to see that we impact every life ahead of us. And we cannot do this on our own. It's a collective energy, you know, it's a collective effort. And that's why we are humbly inviting people all over the world to hold hands with EPN by supporting them through donations, and that's how we can fundraise to do more work. We lack resources. We lack like the staff, human resource. You know, we need to go far places. We need to have a car of our own to go to various places, but also to expand, you know, our program, to enrich them. It needs money, and that's why we are asking for donations for anybody that will be touched by our story, by our initiative. They can go to our website. They can also go to our Instagram page, and they can find more information on how they can be able to donate. Thank you.
That's beautiful. I think we will put something up that you can, so people can donate, because like right now, as you said, there is not a solution, right? So we will work on that. Probably when this podcast is released, we will have a solution, so the money gets to the right place. And that it's always what's so important when you donate is to know the money earns the destination it needs to reach. And we always say money doesn't matter in life. I'm crossing fingers for you that you can have all the resources you need to put out the word to save children's lives. Because it's also volunteering. People can volunteer.
Yes, that's one other thing. Apart from money, that's a very big issue. It's very broad for us, but we also welcome people who can volunteer their skills, the expertise with EPN. And at the moment, we need fundraisers and grant writers at EPN to support us to reach more people all over the world. So we welcome you. Come and work with the EPN and see the greatest initiative in Tanzania. Oh,
that's beautiful. That's I think this is a nice place to wrap it up. As you said, there's so much to say. There's so much to say. But I want to say, like, thank you for the work you do, for making the life of children better.
It's a pleasure.
It's hard work you put into it. Really amazed, truly, and touched from the time I could spend with you and the team of EPN.
Thank you.
From what you do, it's for me, like, I had goosebumps. Like, really, it's a beautiful work. It's a honest, genuine work. So thank you, Hawa, for the work you do. And also thank you for the hospitality, for taking care of me during these last 2 weeks. I learned a lot from you. The persons like you Tanzanian people are so humble and loving,
you so
and it's in such a contrast to the culture I'm used to, and I wish people in back home would adapt some of the humbleness. I'm sorry for all the, but yeah, really, it's gonna be tough for me tomorrow to leave.
Oh.
It also makes me emotional talking
Oh.
right now. So it's it was really a pleasure spending time with you.
Thank you so much,
Really.
Andoni. On behalf of EPN, I would like to really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart. What you've done to EPN will live forever. It's a footprint that you have created in lives of so many people. What you've done, EPN would never afford to do in the near future. So you have traveled from Switzerland to Arusha. I know there were resources, time, you know, you've used everything to make sure that this trip is possible, you know, and we don't know how we deserved to be supported by you. There are so many NGOs, there's so many people doing amazing work, but you specifically picked the EPN. You said, I'm going with them. And with this, Andoni, we say asante sana. God bless you. And you, and you, and yours.
Karibu sana. Thank you.
Asante.
Thank you very much for the words.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so let's wrap it up. Okay. Give me a hug, Hawa.
Oh.
Give me. I also I like hugging.
I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andoni.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
This is incredible. I want to do it again and again and again and again. Ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity, Kaka.
Awesome. All right, so still filming. All right, so this is it. This was my time in Tanzania. I hope I could bring you along. I hope I could show you all the beautiful people that do good things here in Tanzania. And yeah, now it's time to pack my things and start leaving. Yeah, it's gonna be emotional.
Yeah.
All right, so me and Hawa, we wish you all the best.
Thanks for listening. We love you.
Hakuna Matata.
Karibu Tanzania.
Karibu Tanzania. Okay. All right.